commonly overlooked aspect of higher education is that colleges and universities serve as anchors of their communities. You hear about that in just a second. If that's the case, then the greater New Orleans area has untapped and unimaginable strengths. Consider that in New Orleans proper alone, there are 11, yes, you're hearing this right, 11 institutions of higher learning. Eight of them pretty traditional: Xavier, Dillard, SUNO, Tulane, Loyola, and also University of Holy Cross, UNO, and Delgado Community College. But then also within the city, there are three that might not be thought of all the time: New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, Notre Dame Graduate Seminary, and LSU Health Sciences Center. But then also within the greater New Orleans region, we have Nicholls State, Nunez Community College, River Parishes Community College, North Shore Technical Community College, and also Southeastern Louisiana. Well, this interview kicks off the Advancing Southeast Louisiana Series, where I've invited the presidents and chancellors of all of these institutions to chat with me about how their institutions contribute to our daily lives. So, who took us up on it? Well, the first one was Mike Fitz, the president of Tulane University. Here's that interview. President Fitz, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm great, and thank you for having me on. I'm really honored to be part of this program and talk about my favorite topic, Tulane in New Orleans in Louisiana.
Yeah, let's start with that. No, so first of all, I have to say I'm going to have a slight geek out moment because my new favorite event is coming up very quickly, the New Orleans Book Festival,
Oh,
Mardi Gras for the Mind, which is the greatest tagline ever, by the way. I love that tagline, and that's coming up March 27th through 29th. So I'm going to let you talk about how excited you are about it because I know
about
you love this
Book
event.
Fest, we talk about how important the relationship is between Tulane and New Orleans, and there's no better example of that than Book Fest. It is a delight. It's literally, this is just the fourth year we've held Bookfest, and it has exploded. And what we do is we bring in some of the greatest minds around the country and the world to talk about important topics in their books through panels for 2 to 3 days. And it's an amazing, it is truly Mardi Gras for the mind. And it's reminiscent in many ways of Jazz Fest. If Jazz Fest, you sort of walk around and you go into this tent and then you go into another tent and you can taste something completely different. And that's what Book Fest is. You walk into one panel and somebody will do cooking, and another panel they'll be doing the state of the country and defense, and another on philosophy. Some of the greatest minds in the literally in the world, but a really wonderful series of days open to the public. We expect to have over 15,000 people attending the various sessions, and it's free. It's
Yeah. That is the best thing. Last year I got the opportunity to meet Eddie Glaude. I got the opportunity to see Heather Cox Richardson, and some dude named Michael Strecker. He's I don't know about him.
a comedian, if ever there was one. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
Mike's
don't know.
great.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but but it was great last year, and you're right. The fact that people get the opportunity to go to Tulane's campus and check out these sessions, and it's free of charge. Just buy your favorite book and meet an author, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to this next one coming up, definitely.
Each panel is just an experience unto itself. I just want to talk about one of thousands we've had over the years. But there was a panel where Walter Isaacson talked about his book on Elon Musk with Michael Lewis, who just done the book on Sam Bankman-Fried. And it was sort of, they talked about growing up in New Orleans and how they captured the sort of the culture and the relational feel of New Orleans, and how they brought that to their understanding of these two people who did not grow up in New Orleans. I'll just leave it that way. And you again and again, you just see incredible insights from these panels.
Oh, that is great. That's great. So I'm looking forward to the book fest. Most definitely. I will be there. But let's talk about the impact that Tulane is having. People hear all the time about the impact that Tulane has on the greater New Orleans area, especially the economic impact. And so explain that economic impact and how that looks and how it has grown, especially over the past few years.
So it's a great question because people probably don't think of universities as sources of economic growth and progress. But in fact, there's a famous line, and I quote it all the time. Uh, you know, uh, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, great urbanologist and politician, once said, "The way you create a great city is you found a great university and wait 200 years." And so the relationship between a university and its surroundings are just hugely important. And it's because we're not a normal organization or institution. We do research. We bring in over $200 million in external funding to New Orleans for this research. We bring in people from around the globe. Oh, come here. We have 35,000 applicants. They come in with their families. We have homecoming. We have book fest. We have all sorts of conferences. In many respects, it's Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest on steroids. If you look across the whole year, what we bring in, the research we do, and we've done an economic impact study, just came out, which found that we had impact of $5.2 billion a year. Incredible. And that's what all of these things total up to, which is we did it 5 years ago, and that found 3.1 billion. So we've truly grown. It's a reflection of the momentum. If the study found impacting 30,000 jobs in Louisiana, and we just across the investments, the research, we do over $160 million in construction each year. All these things total up to really help grow New Orleans and Louisiana, and it's inclusive growth. It's up and down the economic spectrum, and it's really because of all the things we're involved in as a university.
Yeah, and not to even mention the number of people that Tulane employs from the city and surrounding areas is a really, really big thing that I think a lot of everyday folks don't necessarily think about or realize. But when they look at their friend who's going to a job at Tulane, or they have an aunt who's going to her job at Tulane, I think that's really something that a lot of folks need to understand about having not just Tulane in the city, but several universities in the city, especially how much employment opportunity there is when it comes to universities anchoring communities.
Well, we have obviously thousands and thousands, 7,000 employees. And we've actually grown the number of employees since I've arrived, we're up over 1,000 employees at Tulane University. And you think about the publicity that bring a new company coming to town brings. That's 1,000 new employees here because of what we're doing. And when I talk about the 30,000, it's the thousands and thousands of employees at Tulane, but it's the employment they produce by what they're doing outside. We have contractors, we have all sorts of people who do things for Tulane University, and that's how you get to this huge employment growth caused by Tulane University.
Yeah. And in the interest of full disclosure for the audience, I'm actually one of those folks. I'm an adjunct instructor in the School
Oh,
of Professional Advancement. So there
oh,
you have it.
great, great.
Yeah, there you
And
have it. So
uh, and I must say, what do you teach, by the way?
media and design, actually.
Oh, great. Oh, great. So, professional advancement is a wonderful example of the school, which is really focused on educating professionals in the community. And it's really grown, and we've really emphasized it as a way to help and advance the community in their professional careers. So, thank you for that.
No problem. And by marital contract, I am obligated to say that John Lewis Public Administration program is awesome. So there you go. So a lot of folks, especially folks who are natives of New Orleans, especially those who were born in Charity Hospital,
Right.
they look downtown and they see some activity happening with the old building. And so they may be curious about what's going on. Can you talk about the project that Tulane is doing with the charity building? And definitely also
Right.
they might notice some more signage downtown from Tulane. And so, what does that look like right now? What is going on with the charity project? And talk about the development that Tulane is working with downtown.
Downtown. So a lot of people think of us, oh, as an uptown institution, and we have a spectacular, beautiful uptown campus. But two things. One, we're running out of space. We run out of space uptown. But secondly, as a university, we've really grown, especially in the graduate areas and the research areas. And that has really been very much focused on the downtown. That's our future, and it really signifies a different relationship with the city. We're very much as part of that downtown campus, embedded in the activity of the downtown and the city. We have more employees now downtown than uptown. We have three schools now downtown: medicine, public health, and social work. But we're starting a nursing school, and professional advancement, I think, will ultimately move downtown. So, of five schools downtown, we have 25 buildings downtown. And it's an area where, given our growth and research and all these marvelous sort of advances we made, that's where our growth is going to be. And you can see it in the various buildings, restructuring of our health system to grow academic medicine. But charity obviously is in the center of this campus and the center of this initiative. I don't need to tell you, you talk to anybody in New Orleans, they know somebody who was cared for in charity, or they were cared for in charity. They have parents who may have passed away when they were in charity, or you talk to doctors who trained there. It's an iconic building, which is so much a part of the history and culture of New Orleans. So it's right on our campus. Originally, we were approached taking over about 100,000 square feet in it. And we, of course, said yes. And then we're asked to take more and more. Ultimately, the developers couldn't, in a sense, make it work. So they turned to us to try and develop it. And we have, in a sense, are now looking at taking over 500,000 square feet of charity, which is half of charity. The other half would be housing, the condo development. And for us, it's our school of public health will move in there, research labs, public spaces. We're doing a lot with local community and college track and so on. And then finally, most importantly, an innovation institute, which will take sort of intellectual, patentable advances and try and bring them to market to create businesses in the downtown area. And all of that we envision in the charity hospital. Now, at this point, it's going to have to be a public-private partnership to do it. So we're having conversations with the city and state and the feds about that. But going forward, we're committed to the downtown campus. We charity, as we now envision it, would ultimately be an investment on both sides of over $1 billion. Construction would be 7,000 jobs, but in steady state, when it's over, we would be putting 600 researchers in there, which is literally where it would create over 2,000 jobs and real economic development. It goes back to what I started out by saying. Universities are the engines of growth, and charity would be the engine for growth of our downtown campus.
You're listening to The Way Forward. I'm Eddie Francis, and we're talking to Tulane President Mike Fitz on the Advancing Southeast Louisiana Series, where we take a look at higher education in Southeast Louisiana and how our colleges and universities are contributing to the growth and development of Southeast Louisiana. So, One thing that everyday citizens may not realize, I'm a higher ed marketing and communications guy, so I definitely take a look at this part, and that is how college alumni make a difference in the community when they stay in the communities where they graduate from school. And so in Tulane's case, what does that contribution look like?
So it's a great question, and let me start out by saying, and I say that to everyone I talk to, the success of Tulane is in so many ways dependent on New Orleans and vice versa. It's that the synergies that we have. If we were in Iowa, we would be nobody, right? I mean, it's because of that. And what happens is, for example, we think it's very important that we sort of make sure the best and brightest students in Louisiana can come to Tulane. So we have launched a program, Louisiana Promise, that says somebody from families making under $100,000 can come to Tulane loan free. So it's a real commitment to keeping the best and brightest in Louisiana. And we've gotten we literally got 90% yield on our offers, unheard of. Harvard doesn't get yield on those offers like we've got. And that really keeps, I think, top students here. And about 15% of our incoming class is from Louisiana. The other part of that is, we attract students from all over the country and the globe. They come here and they fall in love with Louisiana. They really do. And we've done polls. 40% of our students want to stay here after they graduate.
Wow.
Now, you understand why. It's the culture, it's the warmth, it's Mardi Gras, right? The
Mhm.
feeling of connection that, quite frankly, is missing in so many other communities. So we have large numbers of our alumni who want to stay here. I should mention our efforts in the downtown are trying to create an economic base that they can have careers here. But they're very supportive of Tulane University, and both philanthropically and in other ways, and ultimately, I think in a sense, we're a brain gain
Yeah.
for Louisiana. Not only keeping brainy Louisianians here, but attracting and keeping really highly talented students from around the country here.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Something that I've run into lately is in the medical community. You go to the doctor, you see a Tulane shingle on someone's wall, and you run into someone in law, is someone who graduated from Tulane Law, and now Tulane has a university president in the city, the president of Dillard, Monique Guillory, is the Tulane
Right.
alum, and so you have all of this activity that again everyday people may not necessarily think about. They may not think about the fact that so many of these professionals that they run into have Tulane degrees. And
It's a great point. And let me just talk a little bit about medicine.
mhm.
Um, you know, one of the great challenges is the health issues that Louisiana has been facing, and it's really problematic. And we're constantly thinking about ways to improve health outcomes. School public health is very much focused on ways of improving the health of the community through all sorts of outreach activities, but also, um, Tulane Medical School and Medical Center is really a source of, the sort of the future of medicine in terms of therapies and in training doctors. And it's that sort of we're growing that academic medical center. And we really view that as a way both to train doctors here and keep doctors in Louisiana, so that our community doesn't feel like they have to leave Louisiana to get great care.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of being really homegrown, let's have a fun question here. You don't know this about me, President Fitz, but I actually grew up a Tulane football fan. I'm talking about from a kid. And so I was one of the few, one of the proud. And I have rolled with the wave through some of the tough times. And so
Up,
um
up and down and up and down.
up and down, lots of down, but there's been so much up lately. It's been really exciting. And when I tell you that I'm a Tulane football fan, like I can rattle off some of the names of some of my favorite players throughout the years, like Lonnie Martz, who I went to high school with, Richard Harvey, Lionel Washington, Terrence Jones. So many of them. So let's talk about the 2025 season and what it is that you're excited about because this is a stretch that again, those of us who are Green Wave football fans, we've never seen a stretch like this in winning. What are
So
you looking forward to?
it's been a wave. There's no question about it. A roll. We've been on a roll. So we've had 3 seasons where we've made in a row where we've made the conference championship. We've been ranked top 25 each of those seasons at some point. I'm not sure Tulane has had a run like that that anybody can remember.
No.
I know the 90
No.
talked about, but and I must say, it's been wonderful to see not only in terms of the success on the field, but just the engagement of the entire student body and
Yeah.
alumni, and it just obviously there was the Cotton Bowl, which was probably the most it was the greatest athletic event in the history of Tulane, but many people say the biggest bowl game comeback in the history of bowl games. So there have been some marvelous. It's been a marvelous time for Tulane. Now, every year is a new year nowadays with all the transformation occurring
Yeah.
in college athletics and specifically in football. John Sumrall is a really just a extraordinary coach. Has a group of assistants who are really at the very top, and a wonderful recruiter. So, I mean, but in some sense nowadays, as you know, every year is a new year.
Yeah.
And the movement back and forth is huge. So we're extremely optimistic, but it is obviously there's never been a more challenging time in football. By the way, we'll be putting up a bubble on the campus
Oh, I
this
saw
summer,
that. Yeah.
and that will allow all of our sports teams to practice indoors. It's been known occasionally to rain in Louisiana,
Yeah.
and
Just a smidge.
and so this will allow the teams and also our students to be able to practice indoors. It'll be built up on the Claiborne lot.
I'm definitely ready for the season. I have my little wave behind me, so definitely ready.
By the way, I
So
must say, just as an aside, I've always understood the importance of athletics and the and
yeah.
the and the field that it produces, but I never quite appreciated it until the Super Bowl when we had Terry Bradshaw come up to the campus, and the city council made it Terry Bradshaw Day, and he received the proclamation. But of course, Tulane, the old Tulane Stadium, hosted 3 separate Super Bowls,
Mhm.
and the Terry Bradshaw event went viral. And even before the Super Bowl, we were told there have been over 100 million views. So how do you get that type of visibility from anything else?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and he's a fun person. So I know that was a really really good time. And before they tell me something, because I know they're going to hear this, I have to definitely recognize a couple of friends of mine who played football for Tulane: Bernard Robertson, Kendall Francis. All right, there, you got it,
All right.
fellas. So I want you to definitely talk about the way forward for Tulane. And especially, as you mentioned at the beginning, with it being a community anchor, What would you say would be the way forward for folks to really interact a bit more with Tulane, maybe to collaborate with the university or to get involved in programming? How do you see Tulane moving forward with the city?
So it's a great question. And, people think, when they think of universities, they think of these ivory towers off in the middle of nowhere. That's not Tulane. Never has been. We were founded actually as a medical school. So we are from day one always focused on supporting the community. Our our initiative with the downtown campus is really in a sense extending that relationship with the city. I should mention, by the way, our campus will be between the Superdome area and the French Quarter. So it's really going to be create a really downtown core. But there's so many different ways that in a sense our identity is linked with the city. We obviously we talked about things like book fest and classes people can take, professional advancement, um, community service. We were the first research university to require community service as part of our obligations. So we are involved across the city in all sorts of organizations, nonprofits, and so on. And we want to, in a sense, have the city to be involved in that as well and to be part of the Tulane community. We also, I just have to say, we're so many of our education and events and programs involve supporting the city. I mean, I've talked about the Innovation Institute. Um, we're in the business of educating people how to be entrepreneurs. We're in the business of trying to educate people how to take their ideas and turn them into businesses. That will be downtown. We'll do that with Tulane people. What we're going to do that with the entire downtown and city community as part of the Innovation Institute. So again, there are just so many things that the community can do to both to take advantage of Tulane and really extend the impact of Tulane around the city.
President Mike Fitz, he is the president of Tulane University and the first guest on the Advancing Southeast Louisiana Series. President Fitz, thank you so much for joining me on the way forward on WBOK. And again, I cannot wait until the book festival. Hopefully, I'll run into you around there.
So are there particular panels that you're planning on going to, or do you just arrive and it's like Jazz Fest, you just pick a tent as you go along?
I mean, you're the one who made the Jazz Fest comparison, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with show up, maybe without a festival chair, but I will show up and just float around and see what happens. That's kind of how I ran into some panels last year. So
It'll be fun. It's just extraordinary. And as we say, it captures the connection between New Orleans and Tulane. It's Mardi Gras for the mind.
absolutely. Okay, and I'm gonna ask you to do this because this has become your thing, the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2,
Oh, the one,
3.
two, three. All right, all right. But I usually do this. It's a large crowd of 1,000 students, but I'll do it with you and me together, right?
Yeah,
On
and the large crowd listening.
All right. Oh, wait. That's true. Maybe they can do it, but we're not going to be able to hear them. But okay. On three, ready? One, two, three. Roll the
Roll
wave.
wave. Thank you so much, President Fitz. I
Thank you.
appreciate you
Thank you,
joining
Aaron.
me.